Goals are still the same. Bring some support and gentle strengthening to your hips and begin with some grounding so your body knows you're safe. Today, I want you to sit on a block or a pillow to lift your hips up just a bit, get comfy, whatever position feels good for you, and let your hands rest comfortably on your lap. Your first few breaths with no agenda. Feel your body settle into place. And let everything else drop. Your expressions, your eyelids, your shoulders, your expectations. And to balance that dropping sensation, that letting go, your next inhale, gently lift through the crown. And softening on the way down, maintaining that soft lift. Again, inhale, gently elevate, feel the spine softly lengthen. Settle your body in around that new length. 2 more breaths. If your eyes are closed, gently open as you finish your breathing. Bring your fingertips out and find your chest. We're going to begin by tapping today. Gentle nervous system support beginning on your chest. And find that lifted breath again. Letting your elbows settle so you're not holding them out and up. The weight of your shoulder, drawing your shoulders down and open. Maybe lift the chin as you tap around. We're stimulating our lymphatic fluid as we move out towards the armpits. We're coming to a place where there are lots of lymph nodes. So as we are ready, you can let one hand drop, just let it come to your lap, and walk the tapping over towards the armpit. We'll stay in that squishier area around the armpit, staying off the bones. And you can let this hand that is in your lap actually move behind you to gently open up the anatomy around the shoulder. Maybe you're just resting on your fingertips behind you. Perhaps easing your chin up and away from that space. Our lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump like our blood does. So we need to move in order to move it around the body. It's part of the immune system. We'll move over to the other side. So that hand taps back towards the center. Join it with the other hand for a moment. Switch off. Let this hand come to your lap as you begin to tap towards the other armpit. And then maybe easing the idle hand and arm behind you and easing the chin up and away. This tapping is rhythmic and whatever pressure feels good for you. One more breath here, maybe in a circle with your tapping, whatever feels right. Come back to center, both hands joined together. And then let the hands drop to your lap, resuming your initial pose, but with your palms facing up. Eyes could close. And tuning into this new sensation of rhythm and stimulation. Where are you noticing it? We'll gently move our hands off the lap. If you've got a prop under you that's comfy, just leave it where it is. If you'd like to switch, you can do so now. We'll come into our spine warm-ups. Beginning with a cat-cow, so coming to wherever you'd like to be, hands on the thighs or wherever they're comfy. On your inhale, slide the hands back towards your hip creases, heart reaches forward, chin lifts, opening up the front. And exhale, curl and round, belly button drawing back and in, rounding your upper back. Inhale, drawing open, elbows reach back, shoulder blades squeeze. And exhale, curl and round, doming the back. Continue breathing at the rhythm that your body is asking for. You may feel some digestion moving around, some gurgling as you create space with that opening, as you roll your chest and belly open and forward. And then a gentle compression on your digestive organs, stimulating motility, movement of waste through your body. 2 more rounds. And make your way back to neutral. Fingertips on the floor or hovering on either side of you. We'll start with a soft rock side to side. Let the head and neck move along the length of the spine. And begin lifting your arms towards the horizon. Eventually reaching up and over. Palm can face any way it likes as you open up the full side body. Consider your breath here. Can you inhale with this big expansive opening? And maybe exhale through center. Inhale. And exhale, drawing back through. Luxuriate in all of the space you're creating through the ribs, that space between the pelvis and the rib cage, letting your low back be almost, it's not a hinge, but it's a soft curve that's being created as your hips are anchored and your spine is mobile. As you land on your next side, plant your hand below you, let your elbows soften, reach up and over, ground down through the opposite hip. So this one you're reaching away from, make sure the sits bones are both anchored. Drop the inside shoulder, reach up and over. You may find this gets in more intense as you've dropped your hip and dropped your shoulder. So be wary of where your hand and arm land. And maybe bending the elbow, hand resting on the back of your head or neck or even upper back. Feel some work in that downstairs shoulder. Let the head hang. And your next inhale, up and over. Actually, let's stay up for a moment, just reaching wide, fingertips flare back. On your exhale, wrap yourself in a hug, belly button draws in. Tuck the chin. One more time. Breathing open. Exhale, other arm on top. Sending yourself some love. Stay wrapped up here. Breathing in this closed in shape. Breathing openness in the back body. Your next inhale opens you wide, arms to the horizon, reaching open. And exhale, other hand, new hand down to the ground, reach up and over, soften the low elbow, soften the low shoulder, ground the opposite hip. Let the ear drop towards the low shoulder. and arm travels maybe a few more degrees up and over. Softening the elbow if you wish. Softening the head and neck. If this gets too intense, just rewind slightly by straightening through the elbow downstairs. Your next inhale brings you back to center, arms spread wide, fingertips flex back, open your heart, squeeze the shoulder blades. Pause here. On your exhale, one more hug. Wrap it up. Fingertips wrap around your shoulder blades, rock side to side. Any movement here, that feels good. And inhale, open back up. We'll come to tabletop now. So just take the time to stay with your breath as you switch positions. Patting the knees if you like, bringing your blocks to the top of the mat. If you don't have blocks where you are, just let yourself come to hands and knees. Untuck the toes. Sway the hips side to side gently. Reconnect with the breath as you check in. Wrists under shoulders. Middle fingers are extended and parallel. We'll find a few cat-cows here, pushing the ground away with palms and tops of feet, curling the chin in. On your inhale, hammock the belly. Let it go. Exhale, push the ground away. Belly button draws up and in. Chin draws to chest. Continue breathing, undulating the spine. Feeling your pelvis here as the mover of this whole flow. Feeling the pelvic openings roll around the top of the femur. Feel the femur gently shift in the hip sockets. Then we'll come back to neutral. Walk your knees in just an inch or so. Walk your feet in just an inch or so. We'll come up onto fingertips. So we've got some more lift here. Extend one leg out to the side. So you'll notice your hips shift towards that side as you do so. Your foot can be any position. So we're hoping for toes and heel are both on the ground. Your toes could be pointing forward. I see it's kind of off the screen here. Toes could be pointing forward, just like you're standing and facing the front of your mat. And we'll begin to slide our hips lightly side to side. So just exploring that same relationship. Hip socket, top of femur. Be gentle here. There may be some resistance. Just be soft about it. Slide back to a comfortable spot and shift your toes somewhere new. So that could be dialing them out towards the side, and try that same shifting again. Notice any differences here. You can come down to palms if your fingers are getting tired. Gaze between your thumbs, neck is long and neutral. We'll move this into a gentle hip circle. So just a little tiny circle with your hips with a leg extension. This is a baby movement here. Reaching the hips back to the side, forward, and then towards the extended leg. One more little circle. Tuck the back toes. So the foot that's bent, the knee that's bent, those toes will tuck. Send your hips gently back. You can stay on your hands, or depending on the mobility here, you could come down to your forearms. That way you're taking some weight off of the back leg and back hip. Ease your hips back towards your heel. So this is intense foot stretch with this kickstand of one leg. Notice where you feel it. The extended leg could be engaged or it could be soft. So check in with where you are right now. And feel this deep inner thigh stretch. Let the head and neck be neutral or the chin drop, the head drop, looking back behind you between the space of your legs. On your next inhale, flow back up to table, coming to hands and knees, one thing at a time, unwinding, and we'll come to some hip circles here to flush. Notice any difference between one side and the other. I'm going to switch sides so that you can see me and I can see you. I'll come to the front this time, actually. Setting back up in tabletop. Extend your new leg out to the side. Find a good position for your foot. If you've got blocks and you'd like to experiment, you can always bring your blocks underneath your hands or bring your forearms down to your block. So lots of ways to be in your kickstanded tabletop. Begin sliding the hips side to side. Keep it slow. This is an exploration. Use your pelvis as the motor here. Perhaps circles. And at any time, feel free to change the position. You're kind of just pivoting your toes out and around or pivoting your heel, whatever feels good. Even a half inch or an inch is going to be a difference. Adjusting hand position, maybe a wide hand stance feels good here as your legs are wide. And then we'll find our way to a tucked toe in the back. Send the hips back. Listen in for feedback from the knee too. If it's feeling like too much, you can always bring a block back and then have your seat. I like to tip it towards me a little bit so the flat side is reaching, my glutes are reaching the flat side to give yourself a bit of intermediate support. Can be intense on the foot, can be intense on the inner thigh, can be a little more intense on the knee as you fold. So come down to where it feels good or stay up. The side's going to be totally different. Adjust the foot. Maybe the toes want to come up here, that shift sensation. And maybe you're pulsing in and out. Any movement. Even weight on the hands. 2 more breaths. Remember, rewinding is always available if things get too intense. As you make your way back towards table, drawing your leg back underneath you, we're coming to child's pose next. So clear the decks. Knees come wide, toes touch, drop the hips back. Let the forehead drop to anything, the fists, stacked hands, or the mat. Let yourself melt here. Softening, creating space in the low back. And once again, letting go. Two more breaths. On your next inhale, rise back up to tabletop. Walk the knees back in. Tuck your toes. We'll come into a hover here. Middle fingers are parallel, wrists over elbows, over shoulders. Quick exhale to draw the core muscles on board and hover the knees. Keeping the neck long, the low back soft. Right now your front abdominals are shortening, contracting, and our back can be long to accommodate. Send the hips a bit higher. Feel the quivers. Soften into the balls of your feet. Feel the heat rise in your arms. And when you are ready, send the hips up and back. Lots of movement here. Pedaling out in down dog, adjusting your hands. Shifting the feet wide if that feels good. And maybe, once again, playing with hip circles. This is an inversion, bringing our head below our heart. So we're cooling whatever goes low. Two more breaths in your down dog. Push through 10 fingertips. We'll walk out to plank as you're ready. Adjusting your hands. Pausing here for one breath. And send the hips high. Once more to down dog. We'll do that another time, this time staying for 3 to 5 breaths. If it feels better today, you can walk yourself down carefully to forearms. You could also send your knees down to touch the ground. Your core is likely already on, but just to remind it to practice core being our first responder, that quick exhale. And maybe today a dip of your hip to each side. Playing with stability and weight shifting. Allow the knees to drop. Send the hips back, child's pose. Three breaths here. Let the back be spacious. The breath filling and opening, or opening and filling. Notice what it feels like. And begin to make your way back to table. Rising back up to the stable position of support. Forearms or hands, you decide. Send the left leg back long, reaching for the wall behind us, keeping the hips level, like you've got headlights on your hip bone. So instead of flaring open, we're dialing the toes to the ground. Feel free to drop down to forearms or blocks. Feel the heat rise in your glutes, in your hamstrings, toes flexed. Quick exhale, soften the neck. And we'll play with a variation of bird dog. So keeping the leg elevated, cross it over the other ankle and tap the ground with your toe. Stay in control. We're not landing, we're just finding a touch and then lift it up. On your next exhale, hug the knee in underneath you. Look at the knee. Hello, knee. Inhale, extend long, long neck, long leg. Exhale, tapping down, crossing the ankle. Inhale, elevate. Exhale, draw it in. Noticing the heat rising as you continue this pattern. Top and cross. Lift. Hug. The standing hip is doing this work of stabilizing all the movement. We're taking it slowly. One more round. Anytime you need to pause, just bring the left knee down. Coming back to child's pose in between. And here we go. Knees come down. Woo! Knees go wide. Send the hips back. 3 breaths. Let the belly be soft and spacious. Notice the warmth and the ease or openness in your right hip. On your next inhale, we'll come back to tabletop and explore that same pattern with the right leg. So come to where you're comfortable, hands, forearms, or forearms on blocks. Extend your leg long, reaching through the heel. Thinking about your hip headlights here, both pointing to the ground. Hands are level. If you can, depends on where you are. See if you can even out the weight in both of your hands. On your exhale, draw the knee in and under. Inhale, extend, and cross to tap. Extend and hug it in. Extend, cross and tap. Hip headlights are still shining to the ground. Core is on. Hip muscles are working, stabilizing the movement, strengthening. 3 more. Mindfully moving with your breath. Feel the heat rising in your body. You are strong. You are stable. Last round to hug it in. Extend long to finish strong. And return through table down to child's pose. Whew. Maybe some hip circles there before. Listen to your body. What do you need? And then after movement and holding, we come to rest. You may feel a more even heat and sensation between the 2 hips. One more deep breath. Letting it go. Oh, so slither forward onto our belly. Maybe you're coming down through forearms, extending your feet back. Let the belly come to the mat. Let your hands come underneath each shoulder. Forehead finds the mat. Hug your elbows in, coming to cobra. Let the toes be untucked, resting on the tops of the feet. On your inhale, lift your head, lift your heart, gently press with your hands. Our goal is not height, it's control. Exhale, lower back down to start. Inhale, inflate the belly, rising up, maintaining shoulders low, elbows tucked in, and exhale, float back down. 2 more times. Gentle back bend. Notice the feedback from your tummy. And last time here. As you lower, slide your hands back one handprint. Keep the elbows tucked in towards the ribs. Last lift. Push with your hands. We're coming all the way up through tabletop. Send the hips back for one breath of down dog. I just got a foot lick during that time. Slide your hips side to side. As you breathe in, come back up to tabletop, come onto fingertips. Walk our knees in a little more narrow. Bring the left leg towards the front of the mat. So we'll come into like a half kneeling position. Back hip over back knee. Your front knee is over your front ankle. You can give it a little pound here. So we're railroad tracked in a narrow stance, but not like we're on a balance beam. So I want to feel stable here. We'll take this back knee and we're going to pivot. So lift the foot gently and pivot. Depends on what pants you have and what mat you have, how easy that is. You can always put your hands down to adjust. Now as we pivot, front heel and knee are generally parallel, not completely. You're in a sideways stance here. Torso has opened towards the side of your mat. Your knee is aligned over your front ankle. Most of the weight is on your back knee. Check in. Do you need more padding under the knee? Does it feel better to tuck the back toes? That changes engagement around your kneecap. So as you're finding your stance here, hands can come to your waist, lift up tall, and press the ground away with your front foot. So intentionally bringing some engagement in here. You feel your front thigh opened. Front hand can come to the inside of the front knee, palm facing open. This helps prevent the front knee from bowing in. Reach down with your back hand. So both arms are level, shoulders are level. Moving into warrior two here. So now that your knee is anchored, your front leg has got some push to it. On your inhale, elevate your arms out to either side. Spread your wings. From this central axis of your spine, gaze over your front fingertips or anywhere close. Just let the head rotate towards the front. Feel the strength in the arms and shoulders. On your next exhale, your front fingers, your front elbow drop down to your front knee, kind of like a forearm on the front thigh. Flip your back palm. Inhale, lift up and over. Fingertip to thumb tip on each hand. So you've got the A-OK symbol. This is a mudra, circling the energy back in. It's a big hip stretch from knee through the hip, all the way through rib cage, armpit, to the fingertips. On your inhale, back to warrior two. On your exhale, hands come back down to the floor. Come back to tabletop. A few hip circles, maybe repositioning your knees. You can dent your mat this way. It'll always spring back. And we'll come to warrior two on the other side. So right foot comes to the mat, right knee is flaring open. Feel the weight shift into your left knee. Rise up, hands can begin at your hips. Root down through the front heel. Shift the position so you feel stable in your stance. As you lift through the crown, tuck or untuck the back toes. You'll feel your glutes about half engaged here. It's okay to squeeze them even more. Just make sure that they're on board. This happens when you are pushing your hips softly forward and opening this knee out. So in order to open your knee out, you need glute engagement. So it happens without thinking. And your glute on the standing leg side is here to support the hip. Support this open stance with this mobility of an asymmetrical stance. Beam your fingertips down, palms facing forward, gaze is centered. Root down through the front heel. As you're ready, lift your arms to the horizons, palms facing down. And gaze towards the front fingers. Fingers are soft but extended. On your next exhale, front forearm to front thigh, back palm flips, lift up and over, finding fingertip to thumb tip. Option to bend the elbow like we did before, hand behind the neck or upper back. On your inhale, back to warrior two, reaching wide. Settling shoulders. And on your next exhale, hands settle down, arms lower, coming back through tabletop. We'll come off of our knees here, coming down to a seat. Feel free to sit on a blanket if you'd like. Bring your feet out front. We're coming to windshield wipers, so hands just behind your hips or out to the side, feet nice and wide. And let your knees lead the way. Your toes are following right along with the knees. So let this just be heels on the ground. And your feet are softly flexed just to give some space. So with all this lovely hip opening and warming, we'll try a little deer pose. So the next time your knees come to one side, we'll keep them here. Shift ourselves so that we can sit up. Make sure your ankles are padded. I'm going to slide back onto my mat. And your knees will be like 2 points of a star. So already this might be a lot. We've done a lot of hip opening, but just check in with your back hip as it softly lowers. Doesn't need to touch the mat. Your back glute does not need to touch. Check in with your front hip. Perhaps you'd like a little towel or blanket underneath. We'll softly rotate your belly button towards your front thigh and bring your hands to frame the front knee nice and wide. We're going for equal weight in each hand. Now we're not going into pigeon, but this is like a light version of pigeon. You may be feeling some sensation in the outer front hip, the one that you are rotating the belly button towards. Let's pulse here. Breathing in to rise and breathing out to draw belly button towards the thigh, long in the spine. So kind of like we did our cobra, we're inhaling to lift, exhaling to roll the belly down. Inhale to rise. Exhale, rolling down. One more time. Notice the feedback from your body. If this doesn't feel good, come back to windshield wipers. And we'll come back to center. Let's do a few more windshield wipers. Hands come behind you. Adjust your feet out in front of you. Take your time nice and wide here. Hips are following along. And we'll swish to the new side. This side may be totally different, so just be ready for different feedback, different tightness, different sensation. Shift so ankle bones and knee bones are on a padded surface. Rotate your belly towards the front thigh, framing the front thigh. Start with a long spine here. Notice what's tensing. Can you soften the back foot? Can you soften the back hip? Are you comfortable? If this is too much, extend this back leg. So you're coming into just a half butterfly position, and start here. You can always prop the knee if needed. And you can just rock into that front knee. So this changes the orientation of the pelvis. If we have a leg extended, if we've got it tucked back in, we're able to roll forward more, and that creates the length in the muscles between your outer thigh, outer hip, all connected to your low back. Pulsing. If it feels good to stay for a breath, do so. Maintaining length in the spine, maintaining softness in anything that does not need to be held. Breathing into the most intense sensation, softening the shoulders. And as you're ready, make your way back up. We're coming onto our backs. As you arrive here, let things go. Perhaps after a breath or two, your body knows where it wants to go, so just let it lead. Maybe windshield wipers or hugging into a little ball. We'll keep it simple now that we're down here. We're just coming into a supported bridge to release the low back, so you can feel around for a block or another support. And as you are ready, no rush, firm your feet into the ground, peel your pelvis up off the floor. Put your block underneath your pelvis and let it lower, adjusting the block so that you've got nice support of the pelvis and your low back can cascade off of the block. Give yourself some space here. Backs of hands can release to the floor. Feel your belly hollow. And maybe rock your head side to side. If it feels good, you can leave the head to one side, maybe centering the neck by scooching the head back towards center. And then re-softening pelvis, back, inner thighs, outer hips, melting over the block. Shoulders softening, neck, jaw, lips, and rolling your head to the other side if you're taking that little rotation. Breathe into the belly. Filling the belly with lightness and openness. And softly exhaling. Feel the belly sink. One more breath here, drawing your head back to center. Without any hurry, we'll come out of our supported bridge, lift the hips, remove your block. Before Shavasana, feel free to take any pose that is calling to you. stay with the breath. Maybe this is a happy baby, massaging out the low back. This is the time of giving yourself a gift, of tuning in. As you're ready, settle down into your choice of Shavasana, simply letting all your surfaces contact the floor, letting weight pour into your back body as the front body breathes open. Soften your eyelids. Maybe open and close, open wide your mouth. Sticking out your tongue. Releasing tension from the jaw is a great gateway to softening into your final rest. Feel your belly soften and open. Feel your hip bones ease, spreading wide. The bowl of your pelvis loose and easy. Your leg bones coming to settle inside of the hip socket. Your toes soft and open. Whole leg rotated gently to allow spaciousness in the low body. Palms can face up. Giving over to gravity. And as we come to the close of our session, this is our final pose. So feel free to pause the video right here and rest as long as you'd like, knowing that your attention may travel and you can always invite it back with a deep breath, feeling the breath move through the body. Enjoy your rest time. Enjoy how your body and mind feel. Namaste. See you next time.